In Savannah, Georgia. Mr. Counihan, just to get a sound check, can you tell us when and where you were born?
I was born in Savannah, Georgia, March the 15th, 1914. This job, don't you?
Yeah, I do. That's my birthday.
That's the way to have it.
Well, so you grew up in Savannah?
I grew up in Savannah, yes.
What was Savannah like in the 20s?
Savannah, in those years, I guess we had about 85,000 people. And you knew just about everyone that passed along or lived next door to you or anyways within the neighborhood. And it was a great life here in those days.
Yeah. What did you do as a kid? Did they set you to work early?
No, I didn't go to work. I went through Marist Brothers School, and I went through Benedictine Military Academy. And I took several courses in reference to organized labor.
You took courses at the military academy?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
When they
I was going to say,
kicked me
boy,
out.
they've changed. They kicked you out?
No. I got out, graduated as a senior captain of the militia.
Mm-hmm. And then where did you go?
Well, then I went to work with the electrical workers. My family knew one of the largest electrical contractors here, Ralston Engineering Company, and I got a job with them, and I went right on up through the ranks, foreman, general foreman, etc. And then after everything settled down, I ran for business manager and the finance secretary, and then I was elected, and I stayed in office approximately 40 years.
Good God.
And I retired.
Wow.
Don't hold that against me.
Right.
Can they still hear that?
Yeah, they can hear you.
Thank you.
Put in the transcript, I'll edit it out. Well, when did you start? When did the 40-year part start of being an officer?
It started in, can't remember. Really can't.
Okay. After the Depression?
Yeah, after the Depression. It started after the Depression, yes.
Well, let me take you back to the Depression then, because I guess you were an electrical worker then. What was it like trying to find work during the Depression?
Well, I wasn't at work then. I was still going to school.
You were?
And then after that, I went to work. The Depression was long gone, thank God, and I went on to work.
Okay. Well, what was the Depression like for a young man?
Well, the Depression was, if it wasn't for the Democratic Party and had these camps and so forth for them, and they've worked them on all government projects, because they was paying them $12 a week, and that saved a lot of real young men about my age. But I didn't go to work. I stayed in school. Mm-hmm. So that was a big relief from my family and myself, too.
So you were at the military academy then?
Yeah.
Did you say Benedictine?
Benedictine.
So that must be Roman Catholic also?
I'm a Roman Catholic.
Okay, well, me too. Hey, for the RC.
You are?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
From New York. New York City, well, New Jersey. Though my grandfather spent some time down here during the Depression looking for work. Plumbers, though. Not electrical, or we could overlap it. How were people living in the Depression in Savannah?
They were living fairly well. For an example, normally they used wood stoves. And the city would cut trees down, for an example, that would disease us, etc. And they would deliver that to the real poor people. And they could get various canned goods and so forth. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't a starvation affair. It was just something that you had to get out and get it, which they've done, and they did very well with that.
It's great. The city cut down trees. Sad for the trees, but it's a great idea. Well, what made you decide to run for office?
Which one now?
For the first time, for the business manager position?
Well, I didn't like the way things were going, as a matter of fact, and I took it over. The local was broke, and I built it up, and when I first got enough money, I had this building built where nobody could get it, including myself. So anyway, it went like that, and the local did do very well. I was one of the fairest people with the contractors, but I didn't give them anything. They had a saying, particularly the international contractors, that Mike writes a tight ship, but he's fair. And that's the only bad thing I had against me with the contract.
Being fair, well. Well, what made you decide to join the union in the first place?
Well, because for an example, I guess I can say this. I won't call any names, but I went to work for a stationery outfit, and he gave me the job, and I think I made like $8 or $9 a week, and I would bring him a lunch. So I was in the storeroom, and everything was in a big bundle. You couldn't find. They kept ordering and ordering, and I'd look around and find those particular types of envelopes or the manila envelopes on hand. So I went and told the boss. I said, "Look, before you order, how about letting me know?" So I got busy and started building bins, and I put all the stuff in it and had it all whacked. So he sent this guy in, and he sat it. I had a little desk, and he sat at my desk, and he wouldn't do nothing. So I said, "Man, look here now." I said, "You're going to have to get in here and learn something, do some of this work. Well, I'm going to run this when you leave." I said, "Oh, thank you." So I went upstairs and resigned.
Well, so you can see the handwriting on the wall.
Yeah, I was stupid, but I wasn't that stupid. Something hit you in the face.
And so then, does one automatically join the electrical workers?
Yeah,
when
no,
one becomes an
you had to
electrical
serve an apprentice. I did.
worker? Oh, okay.
I did make application, and the fee in those years was $52, which was very reasonable. And the dues was $3 a month, plus you paid 1% assessment, working assessment when you worked. And that wasn't too bad.
Okay. Well, how much would an electrical worker make in those days?
I'd say the first raise I got them, they went up to $250, and we thought $100 a week was tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went from there on up to, I don't know what the rate is now, but it's pretty high.
Yeah, well-paid job. What was apprenticeship like?
The apprenticeship was very good. Matter of fact, we had this very smart man came from Philadelphia, I think. And he and I got along very well. And when he couldn't teach school, I would. But he had all the books, and I went through everything with him. And I taught school for the rest of the term. And then I ran for this particular job.
When you go through apprenticeship, is the Union Hall supposed to then send you out on jobs when you graduate your apprenticeship?
Well, for an example, then if you graduate, you go 4 years. As a matter of fact, I founded that apprenticeship program here, and I got a big plaque. Then you went to an examining board from the local union. And then if you passed, well, of course, they gave you what they call a journeyman wireman's ticket. That permitted you to go out and work as a first-class electrician.
Yeah. Does the IBEW distribute one of those books to its members listing where the jobs are available?
Where the jobs are?
Yeah.
No, what happens, for an example, I had good relations with particularly New York and New Jersey, and all through Florida, and I could call if they had additional work. I'd send a man in right to them, and they'd put him on a job and pay him the rate, whatever it was in those particular locations.
But you still go through the union to get a job.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I had to go right to the union hall in that particular city.
Okay. Were the contractors fair about that? Did they ever try and go around behind your back?
No, they had no complaint. Is that what we're trying to say?
Well, I'm wondering if maybe they would say, well, we'll get non-union labor to do it. They'd be foolish to do that, but I was wondering if they ever tried.
Don't make me talk about that. Well, for an example, we had a few that would try to use non-union people. They wasn't trained, didn't go to school, and the jobs would fall through. And then they'd call us in, and we would do it. But then we started putting up picket lines, and we had pickets in groups. They called one the mule train and one Broncos, and they had names for themselves. They'd work 2 or 3 hours a day, and they had a leader. And the picket lines were very, very successful. So we got a tremendous amount of work through that regard.
Why were they successful?
Well, when you have somebody up there with a picket, and nobody's going to cross that picket line. I mean, the non-union people even. Because when we'd get a raise, they'd get a raise. And I had some non-union contractors who say, "How do negotiations go?" "I don't know." "Well, what you get?" I'd say, "Well, 15 cents, 20 cents. "Well, I'm going to get a raise too." That's what they tell me on the phone.
So how did you get them to join the union?
Well, in this local, we were going very, very well. We could work anywhere in the country. And we had a waiting list. They wanted to join the union, but we were very careful as to the education and to the background. And if they met that qualifications, then of course we give them an application and the membership would vote them in and they'd start their apprenticeship class. They wouldn't start, if they were working with a non-union contract as an electrician, they'd go down to about the third or fourth year. And then if they improved, then we'd kick them on out.
Well, I wandered a little far afield there, but...
Did I talk too long?
No, no.
Right.
1940s and it's World War II. Was there a lot of work in Savannah?
In Savannah? In our jurisdiction, we had 5 shipyards, and we manned every one of them. So I guess we were working 30 to 3,500 electricians. And everything went very well with us. Of course, we started a school to teach about maritime work, ship work, and that helped greatly, because some of them didn't know port from starboard or stern from the bow. So it worked out very well.
Okay. Did you teach in that school? Or?
No, I didn't teach in that school.
Okay. But the union started it?
The union started and the union ran it.
It's really neat. What were you doing in the union then during World War II?
During the World War?
Mm-hmm.
I went and registered for the services. And it was a captain from the Marines, one from the Army, and one from the Navy. And that's when they were sinking all them Navy boats. So I answered the question. The Marines wanted me first. I said, Jesus, I hope I don't go to the Marines, because I worked over there. They whoop you down. So anyway, this man from the Navy said, no, I want it. He got naval, he got experience. So he put me in his thing. I went to Rollison, my employer, and I resigned. And I got the money out of my savings and put it in a checking account for my wife, put new tires on the car. That was 17 days before I'd be shipped on down to Bainbridge, Maryland. So I went ahead and got set up, and they called me about 3 days before I was supposed to catch the train, and they said, would you go in the shipyard? I said, man, I got to be in Bainbridge in 3 more days. I can't go in no shipyard. We can fix that. So I don't know how they fixed it, but this guy, his name was, they called him Bugs something. He was with Smith Shipbuilding, and he said, well, I can go. I said, well, when? They said, now. I said, no, I can't go. I go in the morning. So I went in the morning and had a nice job. I had an office and 2 secretaries.
Wow.
Should we?
Well, that's all right. So when they fix things down here, they really fix them.
But that's what happened. I was very lucky.
Yeah. Did you have your son then?
My son? Yeah.
I've talked to him on the phone. Any other kids? Any other children?
Oh, yeah, I've got, what happened, we had 4 boys.
Oh.
And one of my sons had a girl and 2 boys, so we excommunicated him from the family.
Now, wait a minute.
I'm going too far-fetched. No,
No, that's okay. But you had 4 sons. Did any of them follow in your
Yeah,
footsteps?
one of them, Jerry, he went to boarding school, military school, and he came out, and now he's a representative on the staff, 5th District staff. Good job. He was business manager up here. I broke him in, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm. Was he your secretary, or did you? Wouldn't go that far.
You're trying to pick me.
Now, out of 40 years, this is a hard question, but out of 40 years, what would you look back and say those were the best things I did? Tell me about some of the highs.
Well, the only high, the local was run down. We were completely broke. I had to cut salaries and reduce a few people, and then started building up, and we put the money where it should have gone, and we built up a pretty good treasure. And I believe that was one of the highlights that I felt so proud about. Mm-hmm. And I cut my own salary too, however. Which everything, it worked out fine. I had no problems with being put back in office year after year after year.
But that was just fine, huh?
That was my award. Or was it an award?
Well, maybe that was the way they got back at you. And you constructed this building.
Yeah.
Union labor, I assume.
Well, 100%.
Yes. If you could do something over again, what would you do over again?
Well, if I could go over again, it would be somewhat different. You didn't have the opportunities that you do now. I'd have gone on higher schooling and tried to be some sort of a professional. But it just didn't work out that way. My father died. He was a machinist. He was a foreman for the railroad. And my mother raised 9 of us. 9 of us. And she must have done a hell of a job. But she was a great politician.
How so?
She could get anybody a job with the city of Savannah on the county, Chatham County. But she was that one. Anytime they run, her name was in the paper, Lena Marie Counihan, voting for Johnny Boone.
That's very helpful, isn't it?
It helped her a lot and her friends.
And it must have helped her children, too.
Oh, yeah, they got fat and plump,
Yeah.
eating regular.
Well, I wouldn't say that was you.
Well, you can erase that.
Yeah, okay, I won't put that down in the transcript. Well, who would you look back and say, this person was very helpful to me, or this person was a mentor?
Yeah, it would be my oldest brother. His name was John, and he was self-educated. He was a chief teller in the Exchange Bank. The Exchange Bank is gone since then. And a bookkeeper. And he weighed 165 pounds when I'd known him. And when he died, he weighed 165. He stayed in shape, no smoking, no drinking. Stayed in good shape. He never did marry. And he did a beautiful job financially.
Anyone else?
Beg pardon?
Anyone else?
No, nobody else.
But it's nice to have your old brother as a mentor. Tell me about the 1950s in Savannah. You saw a lot of changes.
1950.
What was 50s like for a union man?
Yeah, in 1950, there wasn't no large work going on, but we got most of the small work, even bungalows, we wired bungalows. And we did a lot of work in Brunswick. We did a lot of work over in South Carolina, at the naval base. We did all that, and we did a lot of work in Jessup, Georgia. Work picked up there, so we had to travel, but it was within riding distance, so we didn't find it too hard.
Okay, now back up a second, because I want to ask more about the 50s. How did it happen that you were wiring bungalows?
Well, the bungalows, the home associations, normally non-union. They pick up these guys and to do it. So one of them got in a jam, and so we went ahead and straightened the bungalows up. And then they had 33 contractors in that group, and we were doing work for 17 of them, all the work. It was just switching. We guaranteed our work. If it didn't put in right, the man would go back doing regular working time. He'd put it in properly. If he hurt material or ruined material, he had to buy that material. And we saw to it that they did. That's a good guarantee.
Yeah, it really is. So that's why bungalows then. A lot of business construction in Savannah in the 50s?
Yeah, we did a lot of commercial, what they call commercial building, banks and so forth. We did a lot of that.
She's looking around. It looks like you never knock anything down here.
Well, see,
it's a lovely city.
This is, they're crazy over these old historic buildings. And they get a cheaper property tax rate than I'd get.
Oh, I see.
See? But that isn't right. Because the homes are beautiful. They're really beautiful. They're not around in here, because this was, when I bought this corner, it was all white. Good neighborhood, but it's just, boom, flipped over.
Yeah, it looks pretty worn down.
Yeah.
But there's a beautiful library right down there.
Yeah, but they're going to enlarge in it.
Really?
Hmm. That's one of the prettiest you'd want to see. Real pretty.
That's good side of it. Anyhow, back to the 1950s in Savannah. What was it like living in the 1950s in Savannah?
Well, everybody here was very friendly, like I first stated, and we got along very well. And all of them would go to the same bar room, like Gilda's on Victory Drive, after work, and everybody was congenial.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have nobody fighting, no neighbors fighting, but once in a while we'd get in a scrap. But then the best man won, and that was the end of it. So that's about the only thing that really remains in my mind.
Well, tell me about a couple scraps then, because I bet you remember.
All right. I came in from Atlanta, I think it was. So I parked my car here. It was 8, 9 o'clock. And I used to keep beer for the members in the box. So it was warm and late, and I said, well, I'll call my wife. I called and said I'll be down shortly. And I drank beer too. And I went down right at this corner. 3 guys jumped on me. Should I say this?
Yeah, why not? Happened years ago. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, they were kind of hitting me all over, and I grabbed one of them. And I popped him in the stomach. Yeah, and he started hollering. I said, tell them guys to get in the car and go, and I had him going. he hollered at him, and they let me go. I said, tell them to get in that car and drive off. So I said, now you get in my car. So I lived at the beach, so I got to Wilmington, halfway to the beach. I got him out that car, and I worked him over. And I left him in the lot down there. Oh, get home. I said, walk that way. And then I finally called the other 2.
Wow. You don't mess with Union guys in Savannah.
I didn't like that. I mean, one at a time,
Yeah. Were they against the Union or just muggers?
The Union what?
Were they against the Union or were they?
No, they just
fools.
Drinking and wanted to get smart. They picked on the wrong guy.
I guess so. Did the Union ever have to get into any strikes here?
Any what?
Any strikes? You ever go on strike here?
Can't.
Did you ever go on strike here?
Strike? Oh, yeah.
Tell me.
We went on strike on several occasions, and one of them was down at IT&T Rainier, Jessup, Georgia. Put a picket line up, and we had what we called a round robin. They just walk in a circle in front of the entrance. So I went in, and I talked to management, and they said, all right, bring him in and we'll sit down and talk. So I went and to the picket line. I told them, put the pickets up, and the various representatives would come on in with me, which we did. We sat down, and we had to settle in 35, 40 minutes. But then one of the guys had a gun, and but he was a Savannah man. And those boys up there, city people. So he got filed up with that, and I went out there and stopped it. It'd have been terrible. And I made him go home. I made him come back here. Then we went back, and we had several pickets up there for the same reasoning. So we settled that.
Mm-hmm. Settled it well? Everyone happy?
It satisfied me.
Well, all right. Tell me about another one.
Well, we had one at the Union camp. And we picket the propagator. You used to designate a gate you could picket. Mm-hmm. We picketed that. And one of the pickets was deliberately ran over by a non-union worker. So we called the police, and we couldn't even bring him to court.
Why not?
Just administration at that time was probably anti-union. So that had to just go by the wind.
That's terrible. Do you remember the guy's name who was hit?
Beg pardon?
Do you remember the name of the guy who was hit?
No, I don't remember that.
What finally happened with that strike?
Well, we finally settled it and went back to work. No problem.
Settlements satisfy you?
Yes, sure it did.
Well, was Savannah not a union town?
Yeah, Savannah was highly union. We had the city, the city workers, we had the county workers, the police, the firemen, all were organized. I don't know what it is now. We had them all organized.
Politicians pretty friendly then?
Who?
Would you say the politicians were pretty friendly to y'all then?
Well, the one that ran, I won't call his name, he's dead now. He ran Chatham County and the city. And when they needed a little money, they'd call me, and those days, $500-600, I just would take it, put it on the desk, and walk out. And we never did have a problem with the county or the city government.
Well, it's
We
one
didn't
way of
buy
running
them now.
Oh no. That's one way of running it. How about ministers and church people?
Church people,
Yeah.
they go 100%.
Yeah.
We have no problem
It's
with the
terrific.
church people.
Well, Savannah must have been a good place to be.
It was a good place to come up in. For an example, when they had this trouble over in South Carolina in the mills, all the ministers went and the Catholic bishop, and they settled that thing. They got them. They used to call them lint heads. You know, they didn't wear no protection. You know. So anyway, they settled that, and they were very, very helpful.
When was that?
Oh, I can't remember that.
When did Savannah start changing?
Are you a Yankee?
Originally.
Well, I better not say that.
All right. When the Yankees came, you're going to say
Well,
sure.
Well,
Blame us, yeah.
it appeared to me, and I'm not a fortune teller, I felt like when they started coming in, they went ahead and kind of took over. They got into politics, which was their right because they were paying taxes like I was or you, and they did kind of take the town and run it to suit themselves. Like we got a place out here, the Landings. They want to become a city, and they want to put a fence around it. Allow nobody to come in, but they wouldn't grant them the charter to become a city due to the fact that they were isolating the public. So they dropped that completely. All welfare out there.
At the Landings. That's interesting. And odd, too. Well, when did the Yankees come in? And it's okay. You won't hurt my feelings. I was just born there.
I've got more friends in the northern section of the country than I have elsewhere. Well, they started coming in, like for an example, during the war and after the war, like it was stationed here in most cases, and it met these Georgia girls, and they married them and had children, and they remained here, and they're still coming in.
You should take it as a compliment. They thought Georgia girls were so pretty.
Do what?
Take it as a compliment. They thought the Georgia girls were so pretty.
I have to second that motion.
Right.
They are.
Um,
I married one.
Yeah. Oh, was your wife from Savannah too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She lived 2 blocks from me.
Oh, you grew up together? Oh,
No,
really
I
nice.
was a little older than she was, but I remember seeing her at church and all, and walking by her house going to my home, and so we just started talking.
And one thing led to another, and you got married. I know.
Well, she only dated about 2 or 3 guys in her life. She wasn't outgoing.
Yeah.
And then when I started dating her, she didn't date nobody for 2.5 years, and I said, would you marry me? And foolishly she said, yeah.
Well, she figured, oh, what the hey.
Well, we had a very good marriage for 55 years now. We did very well, and I'm happy about that.
You're on Tybee Island now?
Yeah.
What made you move out to Tybee?
Well, see, somebody told you about me.
No. I mean,
Right.
except that I
Well,
should
what
talk to
happened, I was working, and so I used to go to Tybee and rent a room for the weekend. So they had this hotel they called the Isla Hotel. It was right behind a favorite bar on 16th Street. And I went in and inquired, and they said, well, that's $50 a year. I said, what? Well, that was maybe a lot of money then. So I paid them, and I'd be a Tybee. Friday, I'd leave the job, and go shower, and I'd put on some swim trunks, and I'd hit the ocean. But then we got them to put a light out, and we'd go at high tide, like it was 10 o'clock at night. We'd all be out there swimming too. And it was so cool and nice.
Yeah.
Girls and boys.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And so that's why you went there in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went ahead, my brother liked it, and we bought some land from the Coast Guard. We built a house, and now my son's built a house on one.
Is your brother still out there too?
No, he's passed away.
Sorry. What were your favorite parts of your job?
Favorite spots of my job?
Yeah, favorite parts of your job. What did you like the best?
4:30.
It's quitting time.
No,
you don't miss
no.
it, huh?
I had very good relations, and I really enjoyed my job. But I was away from home pretty often, and at times I would take my wife, and if I could, because I had 5 sisters, and they would mind our children. They'd come and just take them. We didn't ask them. They'd just come and take them.
Yeah, that's handy. What was the least favorite part of your job then?
The least...
Yeah, what did you dislike the most about your job?
Well, I didn't have too much difficulty. Only we had a few members would come in and they might pull a knife on you or gun or something. But that never did worry me.
Did someone ever actually do that to you?
Oh yeah, I used to keep one in here.
As a desk drawer. What did you do when this happened? It would worry me.
No, I would get up and walk around and say, "What's your problem?" And these 2 were from Jessup, Georgia. They were brothers. And they always, I'd get out the car, Jessup, and they had a hunting knife in my throat.
Jessup
But I
was
never did do
rough.
nothing to them. They always were working. But they drank what they call, you know what shine corn is?
Yeah.
Well, that's what they drank. It was 100 proof. And white is water.
Well, that might have affected how their thinking processes a bit.
I got them from thinking that way after a while.
Yeah. Convinced them that it wasn't that healthy to do, to drink the liquor or to pull the knives. So would they come down here from Jessup and
Yeah,
walk
they'd
in
come.
and
It's just 60 miles. They'd come here, and most of the time I used to try to work them between Brunswick and Jessup, but then again I'd have to bring them here. But when we were here, they were just like that passport box. Didn't hear nothing out of it. Then they'd come in my office. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, well, I'm a little confused. Well, what were the 60s like in Savannah for you?
60s.
Do you remember the 60s?
I can't quite recall that period of time.
Not a very exciting period of time, I guess.
It must not be. But then in the 70s, I ran for mayor at the beach, and I won, and I stayed there 14 years.
Okay, well, I want to ask you about that. Savannah Beach, right?
Yeah.
Well, now, what on earth possessed you to run for mayor?
Well, what happened, when they first got the charter, some way back, that same outfit was running it. I mean, not the same people, but they put you, a son, or him, a friend, and they just kept. So the people from Tybee came to me. I lived on Columbus Drive. Came to me and he said, "We want to have some opposition." I said, "Well, you sure need it." Because I was, I had a little place down there. And I said, "You sure need it." They said, "Will you come down and help us?" I said, "Yeah." So I went down. And God, he must have had 30 or 40 people. So I told them in those years, there's 3 councilmen came from Savannah. And 3 councilmen had to live with Tybee, and the mayor had to live with Tybee. I said, "No, you're not going to beat them head on." I said, "The best thing to do, get 1 man from Savannah to run and 1 from Tybee to run, but don't vote for nobody else. If you want to vote for the mayor, but don't vote for no other councilman." So we went in there. God, I got one of them was 600 people voting, and I got 500 of them. I won and my buddy won that lived at Tommy. So from then on, I just told him, I said, I'm going to run for mayor. And this guy was the mayor. He owned a tourist coat there. He's been the mayor for years and years. And I really put a shellacking on him. And we just kept going like that.
How did you campaign? Did you go door to door?
That's what I did. I went from door to door and had party out in the park and had a little keg of beer, barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with that?
No, that's what they do. That's how you win the office.
That's the way we did it.
How else could they get to know you, right? Well, what did you do as mayor? What were your responsibilities?
Well, we improved the town completely. Everything was run down. We put in a new sewer system, new water system. We put the disposal plant in. It wasn't, everything went in the river. And we fixed that, and we paved I don't know how many streets. And we took City Hall. It was a rumble. We really improved it, relighted it, fixed everything in it, and we had a nice park, Memorial Park. And we fixed that up completely, had restrooms there and kept them clean and things like that. And we fixed the boardwalk. All that was rotted, and the railing was all rusted out. So we didn't do that all in one day or 1 year. It took time, and we had the beach renourished, and the seawall there. The seawall is something that keeps the ocean from coming into the main. The hole broke through that, and I knew the Corps of Engineers by name, and I called them that night at home. The next morning they had these big stones down there patching it up. And people went crazy about that. So I did that, and I fixed the seawall. It needed bracing, and we braced that. We did a tremendous. We built a new jail, and we built I forgot what they call that, but we built it on the boardwalk, and I wanted that to be for the police for a holding cell. So they turned over to some museum now, and we took the old forts down there, and we converted them. We got a museum there now, and we got a supper club, and that's really pretty. It runs the whole length of that building, and you can see everything out in the ocean. And we put in several parking lots, paved the parking lots, and tennis courts, basketball courts, softball, baseball courts, and I had all those lighted, and I got my contractors to do it at cost. See there? Start taking a deep breath. So that's what we did, and it was really very nice.
Yeah.
And we took care of the kids. I had the police officers to go in Memorial Park and cook them hamburgers and hot dogs in the uniform. Mm-hmm. And they'd feed the kids, and the kids, got that. Well, the police ain't bad,
Yeah.
And so we had good relations all the way around. At least I thought.
That's a nice idea. Did the union, after you retired, did the union stay with a lot of members? Did a lot of members stay in the union? That's what I'm trying to say. Did the union membership keep up? Oh, okay. If you could say anything to young union members today, what would you tell them?
I would tell them this strictly. Honor the Constitution, which is made up by the International Union. Honor your bylaws. At least honor your working agreements and respect your contractors. Don't give them nothing, but just respect it. And sometimes they're right. You look like you don't believe it.
Well, I can see that you were starting to smile too. But sometimes they are. That's fair.
Yeah, I try to emphasize.
Yeah. Okay. What are you doing now?
Well, this is a personal matter. What I do now with my family. They grew up to 90 years old, and kind of watching their finances.
Oh. I just meant, what were you doing in retirement to stay busy?
Oh, well, I got that beach down there. That keeps you busy. Where we're at, because it's just sand. We don't have no actually soil. But we tolerate it, and I stay busy down there at the beach, and I go to a few council meetings and so forth, and I don't show myself, but I just go ahead and talk.
Well, what year did you retire?
I retired in '84.
Okay. From mayoring and from unioning together?
No, I retired from mayor at first. I forgot what year.
And you
See,
kept on...
this isn't for that. But they had all these old black and white pictures of the past mayors and the dates. So my wife looked at that and said, "You're not going to hang your picture up there." So she took me to a photographer. And it's not, all painted. What do you call it?
Right. Colorized?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, so she just made it faint. And now, from the mayor, from me on down, all I'm using that same type of photograph. But you're looking up there, and all of them had these little collars, I respect them, but I wasn't going to look like that. Damn, I look bad enough when I'm dressed up, much less putting something like that on black.
Well, we started early, and so it looks like we're going to finish early. But I want to ask you one or two other things. Looking back, would you say this was a good life?
I had a good life.
Yeah.
My life was excellent, partially religious. I go to church regularly, and I donate my particular share. All my kids were married in the cathedral. I was married in the cathedral. All of them were baptized at the cathedral. My mother and father were married there.
Do you feel that it was good to be in Savannah all this time?
Yeah, I thought if this, due to the climate and due to the friendliness of the people. For an example, like if you lived in our neighborhood, I lived in the Green Square neighborhood. If you lived in that particular area, if one of your children was sick, or if you were sick, you didn't have to cook. You'd have that soup or bread, things. You know what sick people eat. I don't care what would happen. If your mother was in the hospital, those kids were up on time to go to school. They were dressed properly. They had their lunch. And they went to school. And that's what you call a neighborhood and good people. None of them were wealthy, but they cared for you.